Hey guys, it's Zach here with Minimalist Scapes, and today I've got a little mini scape here for you today in this, I believe it's a 10-gallon that I've just picked up. So recently, behind me, in this tank here, my bluegrass guppies have had a bunch of babies. So I want to make a little scape here that's going to give them lots of hiding space, lots of cover, and somewhere I can put them just to keep them away from the adults to try and grow them out. Obviously, this is not going to be a permanent home for them. This is just going to be a grow out tank, so it only is going to last them maybe a year at max, and then I'm going to move them, so you can even look forward to that. Let's get started.
So the first thing that I did with this tank was I just applied this window film to the back. It was really simple. All I did was just wipe it down and then peel it off, spray it down, and then I used an old gift card just to get out all the air bubbles, and I think it turned out really good, and it helps to add a background to the tank without looking artificial.
Now that I've put the film, like this glass film, on the back, I just want to get the substrate level established. Like I've always done, I'm just going to take some topsoil and put it in this little mesh bag here. This just keeps it from stirring up with the sand that's in there. You know, it's not a big deal in a small scape like this, but definitely in larger scapes it gets kind of annoying, especially if you have something like quarries that like to root through the sand. They really stir up a lot of dirt, so I'd recommend getting these bags just off Amazon. I really like them. They keep everything locked down perfectly, and I don't have to worry about it. And then on top of this, and also make sure if you do get topsoil, you get this stuff with no additives. Just be careful. Just read the label. Some places will have topsoil that has like additives like fertilizers and stuff in it. You don't want that for your topsoil. You want just the dirt, and that's good. And if you don't want to buy a bag of topsoil, just go into your backyard and dig up some dirt. That's going to do pretty much the same job that this does, and it works really well. And then for substrate, I'm just going to use play sand right now. This is the same as any aquarium sand. It's just that it's slightly more cloudy, and I'm not too worried about that because this is going to get set up and I'm going to cycle this for a week before I put any of the babies in, so it should be just fine. So let's get that in. There. I think that's good. You want to slope it up towards the back too. This creates kind of a sense of depth in the tank. And I also want to be careful with how much I put in where the substrate bag is. So you can see that it looks good, but if I put my finger in, you can kind of see that there's like an inch and I'm hitting the bag. That's good, but I'm going to add a little bit more in this area just so that I can get a slight amount. Like, I'm just going to finish this bag off. There we go. And that should be enough sand everywhere. You know, a good solid, at least an inch. If I don't have the bag, I'm going to probably do 2 inches on top just to make sure that it's locked down. But since there's the bag, I just don't need that. So with that established, now I want to get my hardscape together. And I've decided that I'm going to use all the stuff that I've collected from just around my area. But in order to make that safe, I've got to head upstairs and I'll show you what I do to get rid of any unwanted pests that might be attached to the driftwood. Alright, now I'm upstairs and all I'm going to do is I've got this pot of water. I'm just going to boil the water and I'm just going to chuck everything in, just put it in like that when it's boiling. And I'm just going to leave it for like an hour, and I'm just going to keep refilling this while it evaporates. You know, these don't really fit all the way, so I'll turn them, like you see how it's halfway in, and then I can get this half, and then I can like soak it kind of like that. I'm just going to try to do that for like an hour-ish for every piece, try to get them soaked, and that's just going to remove anything that could be like something that you just don't want, like any insects or anything from the inside. And it's also going to leach out some of the tannins in the wood so that it shouldn't dye the tank too dark in like a week, hopefully. It also will help them sink down because it's going to waterlog them. This isn't ideal for waterlogging. You'd want to soak them for much longer, but this is good to get rid of any foreign invaders that you just don't want in your tank. So this has been boiling for about 2 hours now. I just pulled it off that hot element there. As you can see, like, it's gone kind of, the one side's gone dark. I flipped them once already. I'm going to just flip them again, and then I think that this will probably be good. And you can see, I don't want to get it too steamy, but you can see how the water, water's gone, like, brown. You can see that's just tannins leaching out. I just don't want that in the water for this one. So that'll just remove it, and I know that now there's nothing living on these. So I'm just going to be extra safe and just do it for another probably half an hour. But this is probably more than enough already. Alright, it's about half an hour later since you last saw me with the wood. It's still kind of steaming. I've just got it right here. Right here. Yeah. Can you see that? I literally just pulled it out and it's steaming, so I'm probably just going to leave it then. It's too hot to handle for a couple minutes, but I'll just kind of give you a general idea of what I'm thinking for this. So I'm going to put that down, and then I've got like 3 more sticks over here. Ooh, that one's hot. And I'm just going to kind of take them and place them at this root here. And I just kind of want to get like a branching effect from out of here that comes up, because that'll give me lots of space to put epiphytes, and it's also going to leave a lot of this ground area after I put in some rocks, of course, but it's still going to leave lots of ground area for me to put any stem plants in, and I really want that because I want to try to keep this as minimal as possible. But this is kind of a special occasion. I am going to put a filter on the side over here just to like ensure that the water quality is good, because I am raising up the little babies. So let me grab that and I'll show you the filter. So here it is. I just had it cycling in another tank for like the past week, just so that I've got some bacteria already in these. There's clay balls in here. I don't know if you can see them. Yep. There's bacteria already in there, just because I've had it cycling. It's not my favorite thing to have a filter in a tank. However, this is one of those times where I think it's acceptable, just because I am doing a lot of smaller fish. I think it's fine, especially because I want to make sure that it's top quality water that they're getting, and whatever, there's a little bit of flow. But I chose this one specifically. You can see that the input, it's basically a big sponge filter, so I wanted the input to be sponges so that they don't get sucked up into the side at all. So like a canister filter would be a no-go, and even some of the internals I'm a little iffy on, so I chose this one specifically for that, because after the babies grow up, I am gonna put some shrimp in here. I might even put some shrimp in here right now, like after I fill it up, obviously, but I might put some shrimp in, and this will also avoid them getting sucked up into the filter. So just a little heads up for if you're raising anything small. So I've got the filter in. I dug it down slightly just because this is really tall, and I didn't want it above the water line. I didn't want that like constant trickle of water, because if you hear that for a long time, it kind of gets annoying, but it's a different story. With that in though, I'm going to start scaping. I'm going to try to scape just around this, hopefully. I'm not a big fan of keeping filters. I would much rather prefer go no filter, but you know, circumstances really dictate. So I've got this. You'll see. I'll time lapse this, but I'm just going to kind of work it all in, kind of coming from like a centralized spot, kind of like this. So hopefully it'll look good. And then I've got glue to secure it all down. So I'm pretty happy with that. Here, I'll move this a bit over. You can kind of see that it's all just jammed in the back right now. So that's not good. That won't stay like that if I fill it up. So I'm just going to glue it all, secure it. I just use this Gorilla Glue. I just like it because it's like a gel, so I don't have to use anything else. If I use the liquid version, I'll use like cotton balls or tissue just to get the contact, but I'm just going to glue kind of the contact areas in here. And then I want to add some rocks, and I'm going to glue them down as well, just to prevent this from floating, though it shouldn't be too buoyant after I've just boiled them, so hopefully it doesn't...
When I'm gluing, I'm just trying to get it in as many contact points as possible just to get everything kind of locked together with this one.
Now I've glued all the wood together. I'm just going to use some rocks. Here, let me grab them. These are just river rocks that I've just found these locally. I didn't pay anything for them. I just collected them. So I'm just going to put these in, try to fit them in wherever I can. Probably like along this piece, like this kind of flat spot, just so that I can get a lot of contact area to help hold down all the wood and actually secure it down. So let's get that done.
This is the same thing as from the gluing before. I'm just making as much contact area as possible to keep the wood sunk.
So now with that all in, that all glued down, I just want to leave this for a couple hours, really let the glue set. If you're impatient, you can just take this sand, and I can just put it in these little cracks here, and that'll dry it faster. And then if you wet it, it'll also dry the glue faster, but I don't recommend that. I would say just wait, it's worth it. It also gives you a chance to step back and take a breather, and then come back and look at the scape again and really see maybe there's some stuff you want to tweak with it. So the break really helps you. It helps you to clear the head. But after I come back, I'm just going to take some pea gravel that I just got from my local construction store. Like, you can go to Home Depot and get a bag of pea gravel. And I'm just going to line it kind of in here, just towards where all the other rocks are. And that will make it look really nice. It'll make it look very realistic. In my opinion, it looks realistic. But I also want to highlight that you can kind of see, but not too well. But behind, where I put that rock, though it doesn't look like it, there's a lot of room back here, like for planting. There's like a whole hand width here. So there's lots of room over there, and there's lots of room in the foreground here. There's lots of space for everything. So I should be able to get lots of plants in there. And depending on the health of the tank, if I see that it's really good, then I might even just pull this filter, because the substrate should develop bacteria and there should be bacteria on the wood and everything. Really, I'm just putting this in to have it be close to cycled in like a week, so that way it just colonizes faster. And I can move the babies a bit sooner, because I know that the big mamas are always hungry and they could take them down. So it should look good though, and it should really keep the babies safe. Alright, so it's been about 2 hours total since I glued this. It's pretty secure. I don't think anything's going anywhere right now, so I want to fill it up and get some plants in here. But before I do that, I want to move it over onto the stand that I've got. It's just over in the corner here. I'll show you guys. Just let me move this and you'll see. So I've put it where it needs to go. It's over in the corner here. On the side, I've got my red plant bowl there. I've got my towering terrarium. And I've got my little snail forest bowl here. And then up beside it, I moved my sunken forest and the red Riley tree up there, just to make space. for this guy right here. So now all I want to do is I just want to fill this tank up, and I'll just cut back once it's full. Alright, I almost forgot to show you guys this, but I just remembered. I wanted to embellish this with some pea gravel. So that's all I've got in this cup. I just got this from, I think it was Home Depot maybe? I don't know. Just a bag of pea gravel, and then I just rinse it off in this little like pitcher. This comes really handy. I just got this from the dollar store. This is just like a serving pitcher that you'd serve like juice in or something, or water, right? And it's really handy. I just rinsed off this gravel, and now I'm just gonna spread it kind of by all these rocks. This is gonna add a lot more detail into the tank. Gonna add a lot more interest too. Go. I'm not too picky about where this ends up. If you are too picky, it can look pretty artificial. So I like to just drop it even kind of on top of the rock a little bit. Then I'll spread some more towards the back. Put some in there. Put some back there. And now with that done, I think it looks really good. It looks like there's a lot more detail, a lot more interest, like something's actually happening here. But with that done now, I can just fill it up. I'm just going to slowly fill it over like 20 minutes, and that should prevent it from getting too cloudy. If it does, I'm just going to throw the filter on, and it'll clear up in like 10 minutes max.
You can see that there's this paper towel in this tank. I just use that to distribute water and stop it from getting too cloudy when I fill it.
Alright, now with this all filled up, I'm going to plant it. So as far as plants go, I'm probably going to use some weeping moss, probably some dwarf sage, probably some rotella blood red, as well as some Limnophila sessiflora, I believe it is. And then also probably some Henthenanthera zosterfolia, I believe it is. I think it's more commonly called stargrass, so I'll use that as well. And then I might also throw in some Balasinaria in there as well. And then I will also put in either an Anubias or a Boos species that I've got just kind of excess of in another tank, as well as possibly some Java fern. So I'm just going to gather up everything from all the tanks, and hopefully I can get together enough to make this look like a real nice planted tank. So I'll be back once I've got everything gathered up. Alright, so I've got it all gathered up now, all my plants, and I'm just going to chuck them all in pretty much. See where they go, see if I like where they're going, and then after I get it planted, I'm going to turn the filter on and hopefully nothing blows away. I don't think the filter's too strong, so it should be fine. I'm just going to use these forceps, these little like tweezers, to put it in. I got these from Amazon. They were in a kit actually. They came with these scissors. This is what I use to trim my plants, and they also came with this like scraper thing. I don't really use this too much, but it like helps push back some substrate, so it's sometimes useful. But I got it for this and the scissors, and I use them all the time, so they're really good. They're how I plant. So I'm gonna get everything in, and let's see how it looks when it's fully planted. Alright, so plan is complete. All I'm going to do right now is just add in this small amount of duckweed. There we go. I think it looks quite good. I'm really happy with how this turned out. And now all I've got to do is just turn the filter on, and then I'm going to catch you guys in a week. By then it should be cycled, and by then I'm going to put the fish in, so I will see you guys in 1 week. So it's been about 5 days since I've set up the tank, and it's looking really good. Boiling it did take out most of the tannin, so you can see that it's clear. I haven't even changed the water on this, so I'm really happy with that. And all that I've added in these past 5 days, you can see right there, there's a ram's horn snail. That's the only thing that I've added, and right now I just have the baby bluegrass guppies acclimating in here right now, but I'm not too worried about that because all my tanks were kept at the same temperature. So I'm still going to leave them for probably half an hour-ish. By my count, there's about 30 of them in there, so this will be a good sized tank for them to grow out in. And hopefully, I can get them all to adulthood, keeping them away from the parents who will cannibalize the young. And you can also see I removed the filter that was here. First, I didn't like the way that it looked in the tank. It really took away from the scape. I found, my eye was just going back to it. But I also didn't really like how it's noisy. This tank is slightly too low for it. I literally just took it out. It's right here. It's just too noisy. It was just above the water line, so it was that constant kind of trickling noise. And on its own, it's not bad, but having that 24/7 just is not the greatest. If you've ever experienced that, you know what I'm talking about. And I also put it in for the anaerobic bacteria that should have been present on, the sponges or in the media that's in this filter. So giving it 5 days, that should have been enough to kind of give the tank a jump start and let the anaerobic bacteria kind of colonize other pieces. So maybe it's on the glass, maybe it's on the hardscape now. It should be enough that I don't have to worry about starting from completely ground zero. I should already have a decent enough colony that's kind of built up, as well as on all the plants, because they've come out of other tanks. There should be some bacteria on those, so I wasn't too concerned about keeping that in for purely mechanical filtration, because the bioload on this tank is going to be small enough. Like baby guppies and snails, it's not exactly a large amount of waste that I need to process, so I'm going to leave this for maybe half an hour, and when I do, I'll check back with you guys and release them into this tank. So that is everything for this video. I can't wait to see the scape grow. I can't wait to see the guppies grow. I'm really excited for that. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, please consider subscribing. Peace.